What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Codec. Today we have Elias Toufexis. How you doing today, sir? I hope I pronounced your name right.
You did, exactly. It's pretty much pronounced how it's spelled. So
Okay.
you nailed it.
Awesome. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Can't complain.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to join us. I know we got a lively, excited crowd here today. I'm also joined by my two co-hosts. We've got Corrupt Ronan.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Alex, aka Corrupt Ronan here, and I would also like to thank you, Elias, for joining us as well. We know it can be troublesome trying to work out a busy schedule and make time for these interviews.
On a Friday.
On a Friday on top of this. I think I speak for all of us here when I say we definitely appreciate you taking the time out of the day to join.
No problem, guys.
And we've got Yongye.
How's it going, everybody? It's Yong here, and welcome to our interview with Elias Toufexis, Adam Jensen himself. Let's just say I totally asked for this interview, and I'm pretty excited to dive right into it.
All right, actually,
I've never heard that before.
It's a new thing we're doing, Elias. It's a new thing. Yong, you've actually got the first question for today.
All right, so Elias, this is something that we like to kick off our interviews with. Just tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Elias Toufexis, and what events led to you becoming an actor?
Oh, God, that's a loaded question. I grew up in Montreal, Canada. I'm about 5'10". Yeah.
I see.
What made me want to be? It's funny. I always say there's two things that made me want to be an actor or want to be. The first time I saw Star Wars, I wanted to be a Jedi.
Nice.
And the only way I could figure out how to do that was to be in the movies or on TV, and the only way I figured out how to do that is to be an actor. And then when I was about 16 or 17, I saw Kenneth Branagh's Henry V.
Yes.
And that got me to start studying acting. And then so I did the kind of fell in love with Shakespeare, did the theater school thing for a few years. Got out of theater school, starved to death for about 6 years.
Every actor.
Then I slowly started getting work, and
Awesome.
It's been about 10 years since I've done nothing but acting now.
Nice.
That's pretty sweet. And for those who don't know who Kenneth is, he's the one who plays Lockhart in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I think that's what he's best known for among the popular crowd.
He also directed Thor, if you want to be in the
Yes. There you go.
The director's category, right?
Now, adding on top of that, how did you eventually come to audition for Adam Jensen? And do you recall what that process was like? You know, what kind of lines they had you read and whatnot?
I recall a little bit of it. Back then, in 2007, I think I auditioned for it. It was only a voice thing. It wasn't any performance capture thing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Most video games were back then. Now they're all kind of performance capture.
Right.
But they brought me in. They didn't tell me what it was, because I would have known what Deus Ex was, because I had played it back in the day.
Nice.
I see.
But they didn't tell me what it was. They just told me he's kind of like a Clint Eastwood. They're basically like, he sounded like a Clint Eastwood, deep voice, kind of stoic character. I'm like, so just talk. Yeah. And so it essentially became me doing that. And and then I auditioned, and then they told me what it was, and I was really excited. And it took me, a couple of weeks to really learn about the game and where the story was going and the character and things like that. But that's the way video games are, man. They don't tell you anything.
Yep.
You sign it. They don't tell you anything, and you still have to sign an NDA.
Right.
So they make up some name for some game. They give you some lines. I've had lines from, they'll slip me a monologue from some other. I remember doing a monologue from A Few Good Men for an audio, for a video game.
Wow.
Because they don't want to give you any lines from the game, because they figure you might slip up, even though you've signed an NDA.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they're really, really cautious. So I had no idea what it was, and then I booked it, and then they took me through it.
Very
Wow.
cool.
Well, that's awesome. We're definitely happy to have you, because you have this really distinct, I think iconic by now voice
Yeah.
that
people really appreciate about Adam Jensen. So, glad you got the role, man.
Good, man. Well, it's paid a lot of my bills. Voice that I have.
Right?
That's good.
Ronan, you're up next, buddy.
Yeah, so my question was actually part of a series of questions, and I guess it kind of adds on a bit to what Young previously asked. I know you talked about how you played some of the previous Deus Ex games before jumping into this one, but was there any sort of inspiration you drew from some of those characters that led into what you did for this role, or was it just something that you kind of went for, or was it a director's thing that gave you the kind of direction to go with this voice, or was it just something that where you just sit down and said, hey, I'll just read this as my normal voice and just go like this?
Right. Well, admittedly, the in Human Revolution in particular, not so much in Mankind Divided. What happened in Human Revolution, I kind of wanted to, because it was the first Deus Ex game since Invisible War, which nobody liked, and so it was kind of the first Deus Ex game since that big one, right?
Yeah.
First.
Yes.
So I kind of wanted to tribute J.C. Denton a bit and kind of give a little bit of a throwback to him. So we kept him very kind of basic in terms of you can imprint your own
personality
in the game itself. If you watch kind of the cutscenes or the cinematics, I should say, of Human Revolution, I'm much more kind of a character because there's no imprinting of the character on there. So the emotions of him come out. There's It's more of like a cinematic performance in that.
Right.
But then in Mankind Divided, I kind of said, you know what? Now this is my character now. So while trying to keep as much of the kind of tribute to J.C. Denton and stuff that I could, I think you'll find, and I've read reviews that have noticed it, which makes me very happy. He's much more of kind of he has a lot more personality than he did.
Yes. Yeah, he definitely does. Definitely.
I know what you mean. I definitely noticed that. Within the opening hours of the game, you've already got him doing these like smart ass remarks
comments during
snarky
Codec.
comments,
yeah,
and
it's great. It's
just I just embraced that a lot more. We talked about it before the game, and I said I don't want to just be this kind of I keep using the word stoic, but that's his best description of him.
Right.
I just don't want to be this kind of, not that I thought he was dull, but he was very kind of one note on purpose in Human Revolution. And I said, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to kind of bring him into this. And one of the things that I was very adamant about when I was coming back was I wanted performance capture the character for all the cinematics. And I'm 5'10", like I said. And Jensen is 6'1", so they had to stretch me a bit.
I see.
To actually performance capture him. But anytime you see Jensen, that's not an animatic, or if it's a cinematic, it's me. It's my face being captured, my voice, and my body all at the same time.
Yeah, it definitely shows in a lot of the cutscenes too, from what I could tell. Like the characters are a lot more animated when they're speaking to each other. And I think that was a decent improvement over Human Revolution, where not a lot of that was there.
I think what you're thinking of is there's animatics, which is the dialogue trees when you can meet a character and then you have to pick animatics.
Yeah.
Anytime it cuts to a scene, like when I'm in the VTOL with Chicane, that's all performance captured. There's one of my favorites that I just discovered because I played the game and I didn't actually take this path, but I just found this one on YouTube, which is where Jensen goes into the VersaLife vault and he hears Megan. He presses the button.
Right. Okay.
You would have to take a certain choice to get there.
Right.
I watched it and I remember specifically performance capturing that scene. And there's a time where I bite my lip when I'm trying to think of something, and they put that in. They captured that. There's very specific eyes. I asked specifically, I'm like, could you have Jensen not be wearing his glasses when he hears Megan's voice? Because he always has his glasses on. You can barely see what's going on behind.
Right.
And they obliged and they captured my eyes in that performance, and I'm really happy with that scene. I'm mad that I chose the other thing and I never got to play it, so I got to go replay the whole game and pick that.
Very cool.
Man, that's really cool. That's it for me. So yeah, Daly, you're up next.
All right, perfect. I actually want to take it kind of way back, Elias. I want to pause on Deus Ex for a minute. I want to talk about Sal from Need for Speed Carbon, one of your first games ever. Can you tell us a little bit about recording for Need for Speed Carbon and kind of the process of making a game back then?
It was very different. It was very different. They cast that kind of like we cast games now, which is we don't cast in voice booths anymore. Or rarely. Now, like, I just auditioned for a game, which obviously I signed an NDA and I can't tell you about.
Right.
But I went in and auditioned for it, and it was like pages and pages of monologues. But I went in like an actor would for like I do for a TV show or film. That's how we're auditioning for games nowadays, because they're just looking at it from a performance capture point of view. And coincidentally, my first game was the same way, although they weren't doing performance capture. They were filming us.
Right.
And they were kind of animating over us, not even really animating, kind of turning
Punching
us
it up.
Stylized almost.
Paint over, rotoscope type thing.
Right.
So that's what we did for Need for Speed. And they actually had us like shave our arms, which was weird because they hit the computer at the time, and I guess it was 2006. They couldn't.
It was a while ago.
It couldn't capture the hair. It would screw up the hair on the computer. The hair would screw up the computer. And they had to like really specifically put if you watch that, all of our hair is perfectly flat and our eyebrows are perfectly like aligned because we had to like mash them down. It was very interesting. And then the voice work was the normal voice work. But that was a really, really weird kind of way to do a game. In fact, so weird that I remember now, I'm only remembering this right now as I'm talking about it, but there's a part where the character shows up and the camera's spinning around him. Introduces a character.
Right.
They couldn't even do that. They put me on an actual thing that spins.
Oh wow! Wow.
And I had to look at a steady camera, and they would do that. And now that I think about it, it's so weird. Now I would just have to stand there in a mocap stage and they do it in post.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Technology.
But yeah, that's supposed to show you every time I go back to do another one of these things, there's something new.
Right.
Makes somebody's job easier or the capturing of the thing better.
Well, thank you for the insight on that, man. I appreciate it. Yong, you're up.
Yeah, so on the topic of sort of the differences between Human Revolution and Mankind Divided, recording for them and the different technologies, can you tell us just a little bit more about that process of mocapping, how that sort of, did you enjoy that more than what you did in Human Revolution? Did you, I guess, get into learn more about Adam Jensen a bit more since you were embodying him instead of just, I guess, voicing him, and what resonated to you with Mankind Divided versus Human Revolution?
That he walks very straight. You can't hunch when you're playing Adam Jensen.
Definitely. I never see him hunch. That's definitely true.
Unless he's crawling through a vent.
Right. In which case he's like just an athlete, completely super flexible.
Thank God they all build 6-foot vents everywhere.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, when I was going to come back when they told me that I was going to come back, like I said, I asked to come back and make sure I performance captured because I wanted to get a full. I didn't like the performance capture in the last game. Actually, let's be clear. So there's a difference between performance capture and motion capture.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So mocap is just when you're doing a body.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Jensen mocap in the last game.
I see.
In Human Revolution. But they hired a guy who was actually 6'1". He had this weird kind of buck-kneed walk, and he would make these choices, like the director would obviously direct him to do this, but be like he'd sit down at a point where I'd watch it and I go, I would never have sat down there.
Mm-hmm.
I would never have done, and that really bugged me playing the game. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, when I came back, I said I have to do this whole thing, and that was part of embracing, like you said, embracing the character fully. Right. I didn't like that I had to split the character with somebody last time.
Yes.
You know, it was me coming up with everything, and not coming up with everything, those were the writers, but coming up with the performance.
Right.
But somebody had to listen to my voice and match my voice and do the body performance.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that. So to be clear on what performance capture is you're capturing your whole body. There's also a camera pointed at your face, a very small one, that's on a helmet, that it's mic'd. And then there's little dots on your face, so it's capturing everything. In particular, the eyes and the mouth. So I was very happy that they were going to do all that for me, and I got because like you said, I got to embrace the character fully. The only thing I didn't do as Jensen was the takedowns were done by kind of like my stuntman.
Right,
Gotcha.
right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
those takedowns.
He would come in and do all the takedowns, and I would do everything else. And it was good because I got to talk with the director and go, you know what, I don't think I would sit down here, or maybe I would sit down here, or can we take off the glasses here, or that kind of stuff. And they were very collaborative because a lot of these guys, aside from the writers and maybe some of the crew guys, a lot of these guys weren't there during Human Revolution, so they kind of deferred to me with character choices.
Oh, very cool.
I mean, the main guys were obviously the producers and the writers. They were all the same, but the guys running the performance capture day,
Gotcha.
They weren't there the last time, or at least I wasn't there with them. So they deferred to me a lot, which was great.
So it was like Adam Jensen, the movie, or the theatrical production.
Yeah, it's kind of like doing a. It's funny you would say that. It's kind of like doing a stage production because you don't have to worry about cameras or lighting or makeup. Well, you don't have to worry about you do have to worry about makeup and stage, but you don't have to worry about hair and all that stuff because you're covered in all this, technology.
The suit and gotcha.
And there's no lighting, right? The lighting is just
all in game. Yeah.
Lights. The most amazing thing I've seen, guys, is the coolest thing is they would just capture everything, and then I would leave and go home for the day, and they would stay and they could set the camera, they could point the camera wherever we already were, and see the scene on the camera. If you follow what I'm saying.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's really cool.
It's very cool. So they could decide how they're going to direct the scene in terms of shots after I'm gone home.
Right. Yeah, because it's all in a virtual space, so they can take the camera, move it around, even after it's been shot. It's crazy.
They can move wherever they want and say, this is the shot for this is the shot for that. It's an amazing thing. You don't even need the actors anymore.
Yeah.
You just get the actors to do their scene. You direct them in terms of performance, and then they can go home and you can set your shots how you like. And of course, your lighting, mood, and everything after.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's pretty amazing.
Awesome, man.
Adding on top of that, how long did it take you to do your work for Mankind Divided versus Human Revolution? Was it a longer time period for one or the other?
Human Revolution was longer because I think they were kind of just figuring it out. So they had their overarching script, and then they kind of were fleshing it out as we were going along, realizing that it was working.
Gotcha.
So they would add side quests and things like that. So it took about 4 years.
Huh? Wow.
Mankind Divided was similar in the sense that the script took a while to flesh out, but I would only go in like once every 2 or 3 months, and then we would do a day or a week of performance capture, or 5 days of voice work, and then they'd go back and say, you know what, we rewrote that. Can we do this? Okay. Once it was finalized, it took about 2 years to do it. And not every day, but that's a long time because of every character you meet has multiple branches.
Oh yeah.
I'm the lead of Far Cry Primal, right? Let's say. Yep. That took me 2 weeks to do. It didn't take them. All that performance capture took a few months, but I didn't do any performance capture because you never see the character you play in Primal.
Right.
So that only took me 2 weeks. I only went in and did my voice, so that was easy. It wasn't easy. It was in a different language, but it was simpler to schedule.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Mankind Divided took a long, and then when they delayed it a bit, they delayed it for gameplay purposes, I believe.
Okay.
But the writers were like, "Ooh, let's add more side quests now."
Oh, really?
It's just I think they saw that they had a little bit of an opportunity, so they came back and did a few side quests and worked on some DLCs and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's pretty great. Gotcha.
All right. Ronan, you're up.
Well, you just mentioned how you were the lead character of Far Cry Primal, and of course, as you mentioned, they don't really speak the languages that we speak today in that game. So, what was that process like for you trying to get the character to speak those languages? If you had any opportunities to do that, and what that was like coming out with those scenes, I guess.
Sure. Well, they wrote an actual language, a legitimate working language, and they had these two guys, a husband and wife team, Andrew and Brenna, and they would call me every day like this over Skype, and we'd go over the day's script for about an hour, and then I'd go in and record it. To be fair, I had the easier job because I could write it out, sound it out. I could write it however I felt like not pronouncing it, but however I felt it helped me to pronounce it and bring it with me to the sound studio. But any character you bump into in Primal, they were fully performance captured. So those guys had to memorize the language. And they had to memorize everything in another language. So that was much more difficult. So I give them a lot of credit. For me, it's like if I screwed it up, I write it how I help. And I also had them on the phone with me while I was in studio recording it. So it was tricky for me, but it must have been very difficult for the other actors.
Crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's really cool though to hear. Because I was kind of curious because they speak in different languages, and of course, if you haven't, if you're not well versed in any language that is, it's going to be kind of difficult to understand the pronunciations, what it means, and have to act all that out at the same time. I think it's really impressive to hear that they not only did that, but they also acted it out as well, and they're able to do that as well as they did. It's actually really impressive.
And it was because of those two guys who wrote the husband and wife team who wrote the language.
Yeah,
and were there for any time we needed them.
That's crazy. That's really cool. That's really cool.
I actually never knew they had written another, a completely new language for the game. I thought it was some language that I've never heard of or something.
Yeah, by the end, we were kind of able to speak to each other a little bit.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
In the
that's
language.
Cool. Dude.
Yeah. I saw a bunch of promo pieces on that when they were putting that game out, and the language was definitely one of the cooler aspects, man. I really did enjoy that. My next question for you, Elias, this is a beloved character to me. You played one of my favorite villains, not so much a villain, Andrei Kobin in Blacklist, the Splinter Cell series. Can you tell us a little bit about how it was doing a character like that who's a little bad but a little funny at the same time? And you also did some performance work for him as well, and working on a Tom Clancy title, such a renowned franchise. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, Kobin is actually in the game previous. He's in Conviction.
Yes.
He shows up for one of the levels, or two of the levels. And I got Kobin. It's actually a funny story. So the character Sal in Need for Speed that I played, what I did for him is I just made him sound like Joe Pesci. He's my Joe Pesci. And then when I auditioned for Kobin, I think there was another character in Conviction named Kestrel, I think. I don't remember. Yes. But when I auditioned for Kobin, I made him sound like Joe Pesci in the audition. So I would just do Kobin like this. And he swore a lot, and he was like this kind of guy. And I auditioned for Kestrel in my regular voice. And then they called me and they said, we booked you for Kobin, but we want you to use the voice you used for Kestrel.
Oh.
And that was one of the first times I had actually done any. That was only mocap. They didn't capture my face at the time.
Right.
That was the first time I had done any mocap for a character. That was a lot of fun. And then I thought it was done. I love that character because in Conviction, he's just a coked up psychopath.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But then when they called me because they wanted to do Blacklist, and they said I knew them all because I had done Rainbow Six, which is another Tom Clancy, Rainbow Six. What was it called? Vegas 2. I had done that.
Oh.
I'd done a whole bunch of motion capture for some other stuff. So I knew them, and then they called me and they said, we're thinking of bringing Kobin back, but kind of making him a pseudo part of the team. And my kids are home.
That's fine.
Can you hear them?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, my wife is going, go outside. I'm just texting my wife, telling him to shut up. So anyway, so they called me back for Kobin, and I went in, and they're like, this is a fully performance captured game, which, by the way, just let me go on a little soapbox here and say, they never replaced Michael Ironside. They never fired him. They never did anything like that. It was Michael saying, I'm done with the game. I'm handing this over to somebody else.
Exactly. I'm so glad you brought that up because a lot of people think it's the other way around.
Yeah,
and that they replaced him.
Yeah, they used my friend Eric, to play Sam.
I like Eric. Can you? We need to talk to you about.
I think he was great. I think he was great.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he was good. Man.
He's in a really good show, by the way, called The Nick. You should watch. But he went and he met with Michael. Michael came to set. I've known Michael a long time. Michael came to set, and he handed the reins almost literally. Like they actually gave him Sam's goggles, and he handed them to Eric.
That's
cool. Pretty cool.
That's really cool.
So it wasn't anything. I really think it hurt the game. People saying, "How dare they replace Michael Ironside?" I really think it hurt the view of the game, and it wasn't anything like that. Right. Plus, Michael is amazing, but he's in his 60s, and you need Sam to be lithe and jumping around.
Right.
And so there was another, it was like, oh, okay, you don't want to come back, then we'll get Eric to performance capture the whole thing. Anyway, that was my soapbox. They brought me back to Open. And, I enjoyed the hell out of it. Those are the characters, if you go and watch any character I played on TV, they're all like Kobin. In fact, the show, The Expanse, he's pretty much exactly Kobin. He's
Yeah,
time I'm in prison. They don't know if they can use me to help. They don't know if they're going to throw me on the ship. Like they use me. They don't trust me, and they were right not to trust me. It's the same thing as Coben.
That's one of the main reasons why I really like that performance. And I know he was in Conviction, but just a much bigger role in Blacklist. And I just thought, like, the way you delivered all of the lines and stuff, I really couldn't tell if Coben was really on my side or not. And I really like to commend voice actors when they can, even confuse me as a seasoned veteran gamer. Like, I usually can pick out storylines from anywhere, but I really wasn't sure if Coben was setting me up for something or something like that. He did a really good job of making that voice just shaky enough to instill some doubt, but just sturdy enough to send Sam on the mission. So I liked it.
Actually, there's a perfect example, and I think I went in for an hour for voice work for that game.
Wow.
Entire rest of the game was performance capture.
That's crazy.
Every time, in fact, every time you see him, even when it cuts from, because it's a PS3 game, right? So there's the cut scenes, and then there's a time where you talk to Coben. Unlike Mankind Divided, those are performance captured.
Right.
So if you see me, here's an interesting little technical tidbit. You see Coben pacing around his cell or sitting down, then you go up and talk to him, and then he gets up and talks to you. Mm-hmm. That's me sitting there, and then I get up and I talk to you. When I'm done, I have to go back to the exact position I started in.
Yeah.
But that's not an animation. That's me mocapping it, getting up, and they say, make sure you go back and sit exactly how you started, because the computer has to reboot to before you got up.
Right.
Exactly.
What I mean.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Very cool.
That's what I mean by things keep changing, because I didn't have to do that. Things just keep happening.
All right. Young, you're up, my friend.
Speaking of all these roles you've played, I've got to ask, out of all of them, which one stands out to you the most? What would you say is so far your personal magnum opus as of this moment?
In video games specifically? I would say...
whichever medium.
Oh, whichever medium. I mean, I think no matter what, it's just in terms of what it's done for the kind of cult following that I've achieved is Jensen, for sure.
Okay.
Like, Jensen has turned into this thing where there's memes of things I say, or memes, whatever you call it, of things I say.
Definitely.
Which to me, that's never happened in any other project I've done. Right? To a smaller degree in like shows like Alphas and The Expanse and things like that, they pop up every now and again. But Supernatural was a good one, because that's a very popular show. So that was, that was like 9 years ago I did that show. But it's still, people still recognize me on the street for that.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Show.
Let me ask, what's
between Jensen and the Expanse? I love the character in The Expanse.
Okay.
Yeah.
What season in Supernatural do you appear in? I still have yet to watch the show.
Season 2.
Season 2.
They're a really good character, and there's only one episode. In fact, I still get recognized from that show, and I was in one episode, and it was an intense character, and it was a really good character, but it was probably 15 minutes of screen time in 10 seasons. So it's funny that's how rabid there's a Supernatural fans.
Right, definitely. All right, Ronan, you're up.
Okay, so obviously everyone is well aware of the "I never asked for this" joke that clearly made its rounds after Human Revolution came out. My question to you was, how often are you approached by people that want to hear you say that again? And what was your reaction when this thing first happened? It became the meme that it is today.
There's no question I get asked more, for sure. Yeah, I could tweet something now, and 9 out of 10 of the responses will be, "But did you ask for that?" It's just completely my life in every way. But it's fine. It's just not. It's it's a blessing to be able to play anything that has even a minute effect on pop culture. So I don't mind. Although this is true. I said this at PAX on the panel last weekend. Somebody had come to my door, and it was a pizza, and I didn't order a pizza. This is true. And I was like, "Oh man, I never asked for that." And I just stopped like halfway through.
That's great.
So just in case this guy's a gamer, I'm not even.
I like it.
That's hilarious.
I've got to ask, do people, like, say somebody delivers you a pizza, when you start talking, have there been times where they're like, "Wait a minute, that sounds familiar"?
It happens all the time. It happens all the time at PAX or occasionally at conventions and things like that, at Comic Cons and things like that. And if I go into like an EB Games or a GameStop,
Yeah.
If, with my kids or something, and I'm looking for Disney Infinity toys. Occasionally, you'll get people like, "Hey, I know who you are."
Awesome.
But no, I mean, I guess I have that luxury of the anonymity, unless somebody recognizes me from Supernatural or The Expanse or something like that.
Gotcha. That's cool.
But for the most part, yeah, occasionally. You know what I get most of all? It's like, "Oh, do you have a cold? Why would you think I'm sick? Oh, just your voice is very rough. No, I'm not sick. I'm fine." But I do also get what a lot, because I can't, like, unless I'm yelling, people are like, "What? Sorry."
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. That's crazy.
All right, Ronan, you're up, buddy.
No, it's actually you.
Oh,
that's my question.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
I looks like that's a two-parter, but
no,
I must be on the wrong one.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is my last question.
Get it together, goddammit.
We're running low on time here, so this is my last question for you, and it's a pretty cool one. It's something I didn't learn until today. You've got a pretty nice relationship with Michael Mando. You guys have. Well, I don't know if it's a nice relationship. You've got quite a few skits. Can you tell us about how that kind of came to be and what the connection is between you two?
Well, mostly he's a psychopath, so we have a friendly rivalry. No, he's we
make sure he sees this.
We both grew up in Montreal.
Okay.
We've known each other for a while, and we were doing the Canadian Video Game Awards like 4 years ago, which is not as big of an event as it sounds.
Right.
And, no, it was pretty cool. They broadcast it nationwide and stuff, and it was live, and I was hosting it. And so I called Michael, and I was like, "Hey, let's do a sketch. Let's just do a sketch. I have no idea what about." And we wrote this sketch where he thinks he's actually Vaz from Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
And I think I'm actually Adam Jensen. So we sat down and started doing it, and then to Michael's credit, we're like, "You know what, man? This is too obvious. Mm-hmm. Let's just wing it." And we
improv it.
Winged it, and whole thing is completely improv.
Yeah,
man.
It was hilarious.
It's just Michael being crazy.
Yeah, he's very intense.
Yeah. And then we did the second one because it's such a big hit.
Yeah.
And we got David Hayter involved. And we got a couple other actors, Neil Napier from Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
And and so we had done that other sketch, and that one was in my opinion was even better. Also, that was kind of written, but again, like we just wrote an outline,
right?
And kind of did it. At least that's what I say. The truth is, he's a psycho, and I don't want to.
Definitely, yeah, that's very cool. It's something I stumbled upon today. I was checking out your YouTube channel, just some of the stuff that you had on there, and I had noticed that you had that video there with David Hayter, and he was one of our first interviewees on our show here. And I was like, "What is this?" I checked it out, and I watched the first one, and then watched the second one back to back like that, and it was absolutely hilarious. Man, you guys definitely work well together. Hopefully, you guys can land a game together at some point. I think the dynamic would work really well.
Get me into Better Call Saul. I'll crash his show.
Better Call Saul. He's great as Nacho.
Yeah. He'll crash The Expanse, and I'll crash Better Call Saul. Actually, they use the same directors a lot.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the insight on that, Elias. Definitely appreciate it. Y'all, you're up.
All right. This is a pretty simple question, but out of all the Adam Jensen moments or quotes, which one would you say stands out to you the most? Which one's your favorite?
What do you think stands out to me the most? The one that stands out in my life.
Never have. Other than that one.
There's two things that I like. In the last game, just because it's funny. Here's another like a kind of insider game thing. One of my best friends is a writer, and he's also an actor and a musician, and he wrote a lot of dialogue for Human Revolution. So we grew up together. I mean, like from 5 years old, grew up together.
Wow.
So he wrote some dialogue for Human Revolution, and another guy I grew up with, this guy Lamar. His nickname that we give him is Rise. We call him Rise or Rizzle. We call him Rizzle sometimes. So in the game, Andrew, the writer, he wrote that one of the characters' name was Big Rizzle, and he died. And one guy goes, "Rest in peace, Big Rizzle," and I say, "Yeah, rip," which is instead of rest in peace. Right. And the funniest thing to me about that is that I'm talking about one of my best friends written by another one of my best friends, and people love. That's another memed thing all the time. That rip.
Yeah.
So I love that one. That has a special place in my heart for life.
That's pretty.
And there's all sorts of other things. Like we did all these plays together in New York and stuff like that. So he wrote emails that you can hack about our characters from the plays that we did in New York. And only he and I would know about this, or somebody who had to see our play. But if you were to read this email, you'd be like, "Whoa, Mark and Julian from the play we did in New York." So I love that kind of stuff.
There are a lot of inside jokes scattered around.
There's inside jokes everywhere.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
But that's your question about this one. About this one, I liked the launch trailer. Is when he says you can kill dreams, you can kill innocence, but you can't kill progress.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love that line. I think it's great.
That is a pretty great line.
Awesome. All right, Ronan.
All right, so there is a voice pack for Adam Jensen in the game Dota 2. I don't know if that's out yet or not. I don't know because people kept talking about whether it was out, unless you pre-ordered. Yeah, unless you pre-ordered Mankind Divided ahead of time on PC, then you would get that pack for Dota 2. But my question is, how did that come about? Were you approached by fans, or was it Valve? What was that process like, and where the hell is Half-Life?
To answer the last part of your question, I have no idea.
That's the game he was working on that he can't tell us.
Yes, that's what.
I wish no. How did it come up? They just asked me. The Eidos Montreal asked me, said, "Would you be interested in doing this?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "All right, I'll do it if you throw it into sessions where I'm already in, because I have to travel to Montreal to do performance capture work."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, look, if I'm there, I'll give you an hour every day to do the Dota stuff. And it took a long friggin' time to do all the Dota stuff. And I had no idea, because I don't play Dota, so I had no idea what I was saying. Like, I get the basics of it, because I played Age of Empires a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I get the basics of, this kind of troop and this kind of castle and whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was like, you're going to just tell me how to say it. And then I did God knows how many lines. It took me a long time. And they just asked. I don't know who it was who asked, Eidos Montreal, if it was the other way around. Mm-hmm. If Square Enix asked Valve, I have no clue. Mm-hmm. But they just asked me to do it, and I did it. And I don't know. People seem to like it, so I'm good with it.
Yeah,
definitely.
From what I've heard, people definitely do like that announcer pack for that game. So I was kind of curious about how that went down.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I never knew that. I need to check that out.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It's much more levity in Adam Jensen than you normally hear.
That's pretty cool. Looking forward to listening to it.
Yep. All right. Y'all get up next.
Oh, all right. Let's see. Oh, okay. So I was going to ask, are you a gamer? But I think it's pretty apparent by now that you seem to have played games in the past,
Sure.
quite a few of them. So I guess my question to you is, which games have you enjoyed? Like, what are some of your favorite games?
Well, I'm Canadian, so I play a lot of hockey. I play a lot of NHL. I love NHL. When that comes out, that comes out on Tuesday. So I'm glad I finished Mankind Divided, because I'm going to be hooked on that now for like a month. But that's really the only sports game I play. The other games, I really dig on the Arkham series.
Oh yeah,
I love the Arkham series. I love I play all the Assassin's Creed mostly because I'm in most of them.
Okay.
So I get them for free, to be honest.
That's cool.
So I play a lot of those. I like any kind of stealth game, which is why I love that I'm involved in Splinter Cell and Deus Ex, because I'm a big kind of stealth guy.
You played on Metal Gear at all?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I played Metal Gear on the
Hell
the
yeah.
NES.
Oh man, there you go.
I remember I was only like 12 at the time, but I remember that Metal Gear on the NES came with like I don't remember what it was, but it was like a fold-out map.
Really?
It came with a fold-out map and the things that you could get in the game.
Oh wow.
Like
awesome.
The different guns you could acquire and things like that. I still remember. I have like a vision of getting that game and opening up that map. So I've been playing Metal Gear for a long time. Plus, I'm friends with Hater, even though I call him Hater.
Right.
I spell it in my head.
Right.
TR. But he's a great guy too.
Oh yeah.
Mass Effect, also because I'm friends with those two guys, with Jennifer and Mark.
Yeah.
I tend to, I
saw your interview with Mark. That was great.
I fell into this convention thing where I just kind of go to these packs, like these different PAXs, and all these video game actors are there. So we all just got to know each other. So that's why it's like, you know, I have Hater in that video with Mando and things like that. But yeah, I mean, those are the games I play.
Awesome.
I'm addicted to Rainbow Six Siege. Until I got Mankind Divided, I was playing so much damn Siege. It was like,
yeah, I've heard that game got a lot of updates recently, and it's really
a lot
good
of
now.
fun, man. There's no story to it at all. It's just
multiplayer. Yeah,
you don't really even need to do multiplayer, but it's impossible if you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you can go on the missions by yourself to fight like AI characters.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But without friends, it's impossible. I've yet to pass one mission.
Gotcha. Now
You're actually in a game with David, though, aren't you?
In a game with David?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Long Dark.
Yeah.
Oh.
I haven't.
Yeah, we've been covering that on our show for a while. I don't know if you remember, Young and Ron, but we talked to David about it.
Yeah.
And then he said he didn't know when that story part was coming in, and so did Mark. Mark Meir said the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
Mark and Jennifer have already worked on it because they're the protagonists. Because you can play it's a lot like Mass Effect. You can play Mark or you can play Jennifer. Like, it's up to you. But I don't know if I haven't done anything on it yet.
Okay.
I doubt David has yet. But we've been, Raphael, again, the head over at Hinterland, just actually a couple of weeks ago sent me a shout out saying we're pretty much ready to go forward with the story aspect of the game.
We're excited to see that.
Awesome. And a character for you. So
sorry to hijack the question, Young.
No, it's all right. Now, on top of the question, I want to ask, when you play a game in which you're in, like Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, or whatever, how is that experience like to hear your voice constantly sort of, is that kind of cool? Is that kind of weird? Does it break immersion for you in any way, knowing that it's kind of you there, but not really?
Maybe at first, but then I get, like, a game like Mankind Divided, I honestly, I say this completely truthfully, if I wasn't in the game, I still would be playing that game.
Sure.
Awesome.
Because again, it's a stealth game. You don't have to be stealth, but
Yeah,
I play it very stealthily, and I love the story and I love cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So I kind of lose the fact that it's me
That's
about
cool.
15, 20 minutes into it.
Okay.
To top it off, I don't remember a lot of it because,
Oh.
like I said, it took so long.
Right.
So there's a mission in the game where you have to figure out who a murderer is
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and who a harvester is.
Yep.
And I, honest to God, did not remember who it was. So I was playing this mission going, I don't remember. I recorded on this.
They make it so hard for you to not like blurt somebody out to solve that mission completely ahead of time, so you really don't know.
Yeah. It's but it's funny, yeah. When I kind of started figuring out who it was, and then by the end, I was like, oh yeah, I don't remember this. I don't remember this revelation. I remember doing this in the sound studio.
Right.
I remember all the performance capture of the cutscenes because that's more like a film. Plus, I had to memorize those lines so they stick in my head a lot more. But on the days where I'm recording, 200 pages.
Yes.
So by the time I get to page 200, on page 1 is gone out of my head.
Sure. Definitely. That's cool.
Okay.
So you can still play the games.
I do get to still experiencing it.
That's sweet.
That's really cool.
That's good. It's good to know. Awesome.
All right. Looks like we got 2 more questions in here. Ronan, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I'll make this my last question, actually. So, after Mankind Divided, what's next for you in terms of, your career and things like that? You're doing the Deus Ex DLC, or are there any projects that you could talk about, reveal to us that you want us to know about?
Remember those NDA things I was talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I could say is that, we've done one DLC. I got to go back next week,
Okay.
I think, or the week after, to do the next one.
And the sequel, right?
You know what's funny, man? I get that question a lot, and this is the truth. I don't know. I think it's going to depend on how well the game does.
Yeah.
Even just as a fan playing the story, the way it ends, and I'm like, okay, there's so much more to
Right.
right? There's so many things left hanging. Even from Human Revolution, there's still things left hanging.
Well, yeah.
So I hope, as a fan of the game, we do another one, but that they are so tight-lipped about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So they won't tell me anything.
Sure.
Trust me, I ask. Because to me, it's work. It's like, this is gonna be another 2 years of work.
Yeah.
So like, hey, can I have an inkling that we're doing one? And they don't tell me anything.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the DLC is the first DLC comes out in 2 weeks, the one with Pritchard.
Yeah.
Comes back.
I'm excited.
Which is a really cool DLC, but I can't talk about what happens in the next DLC.
Okay,
of course.
fair
That's
enough.
cool. That's
But
totally understandable.
it's amazing and it's very different.
Oh wow.
Ooh, all right.
All right.
I'll definitely be looking forward
And
to
neither
it.
of them, for the record, because I'm going to get this on Twitter and I get it all the time. Are the DLCs the ending to Mankind? They're not. DLCs are self-contained stories.
Right.
Okay.
Of course, they connect back to the game, but they're not doing that thing that people hate, where the game ends and then you have to buy the DLC for the ending.
Okay.
That's not what's happening. These are self-contained stories. If we want a real ending, I guess we got to hope for a sequel.
That's
So
fine. I'm looking forward to it.
Without spoiling too much or anything really, you do have some other games though that you're working on outside of Deus Ex, correct? Is that what we're taking here? If you're working on some voiceover stuff
Yeah,
or some,
yeah.
some
I
other
mean, there is The
okay.
Long Dark for sure.
Right.
That's coming out. And a couple of more, and one that I don't know if I got yet. I just thought
Okay, cool. So you got some game stuff in the works. Obviously, you've got your TV shows going as well. So there'll be plenty more lives for people to watch.
Yeah, hopefully it keeps going.
Yeah, right.
This is the life of an actor, man. Every year you're like, is this the year I'm never going to work again? Continue.
Oh man, Young, you're
Yes, my final question to you. As an actor, what advice would you give to those who are trying to get into the business, who might want to voice act or do TV or movies? What tips do you have for them to get into the business, and just in terms of acting tips?
To put it succinctly, I would say if you're going to do voice, then go take a voice class, spend about $500 to go to a voice studio in whatever town you're in and make yourself a demo. Don't do it at home unless you have a really good sound system at home. Make yourself a really good demo. Look online. There's demos. My demos are online. Every actor's demos are online.
Yeah.
Watch these demos, whether you're doing commercials or video games or cartoons, whatever. Use that demo to go get an agent in whatever town you're in. Some towns don't have a big booming voice like business. Some do. If you can move to a town that does, great. If you can't, there's always commercial work in almost every town. And then in terms of acting, same type of thing. Go do independent films. Go do films for free. Make yourself a demo out of those films. Use that to get an agent, and then you're gonna have like 5 years of friggin' torture, where you're working crappy jobs, but you're trying to do it. But eventually, you start building a name for yourself, and you start getting work, and then hopefully you won't stop.
Definitely. Okay, fair enough. So that sounds good. That's my last question.
That pretty much wraps it up. Obviously, like I said before we started the show, we got a couple quotes that we have for you. If you need to grab a drink or something, or if you're good to go, we'll send them to you over Skype. Young, can you do that so I don't dox everybody?
Yes.
Appreciate it. So he's going to send you these over Skype here so you can check them out. If you're on your phone, they should pop up if you hit the little messaging icon.
Thank you. Be there in 2 minutes. Done. Said it. Oh, yeah, that's not what you said.
You mentioned, while he's getting these sent over to you, you mentioned earlier about the Michael Ironside replacement kind of debacle, which wasn't a replacement. Did you have any thoughts on David and Kiefer in Metal Gear Solid?
At the risk of like alienating people who could potentially hire me in the future, I didn't love that.
Okay. Did you get to play the game? The new Metal Gear Solid?
Purposefully didn't play the game.
Okay.
I see.
Maybe because David's my friend and
Okay.
Understand.
Fair enough.
At the way he was treated. To be fair, I don't know the entire history behind it.
I don't think anybody does.
Nobody
really
does, yeah.
Just wanted to know if you had an opinion on the voice change, but since you didn't play it, then obviously it would.
Kiefer Sutherland is a wonderful actor.
Right.
This has nothing to do with him.
No, not at all.
I just don't really love
the way it was handled.
Yeah, by the
corporates.
Yeah.
For all I know, I could be completely
higher-ups.
wrong, but I didn't really love it.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's my friend, and I want to defend my friend.
Definitely.
You know what, guys? You know what I'm gonna do because my kids are making noise. I'm gonna record this and send it to you. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can do that.
I'll wait till later when my kids aren't. Unless you need it now.
No,
I mean,
we can.
if we want an intro, because I need to make the intro today. I mean, it's up to you.
Can you just can you do one right now and then just
Sure.
send us the others when
It'll make a noise.
the intro is the top one.
The intro's at the top.
Yeah.
Can you hear them?
No,
Not
it's
really.
actually pretty quiet, the background. Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is Adam Jensen, and you're watching the Codec. I definitely asked for this. I never asked for this. They say they saved me, but I'm not sure saved is the right word. I once thought I could save the world. Now look at it. I want the burn of smoke and nicotine in my lungs, but all I feel is the Sentinel health system automatically counteracting the damage. Even self-destruction isn't fun anymore. The Illuminati symbol is a triangle. There are 3 sides to a triangle. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Perfect. Thank you for
Awesome.
knocking us
Thank
out,
you,
man.
man.
We really appreciate that.
All right, guys.
All right, that pretty much wraps up our interview for today, guys. Follow Elias at his Twitter accounts listed down below. You can also check out his YouTube channel, which if you just search his full name, you'll find that as well. He's got some Let's Plays on there, some skits, some demo reels, all that kind of stuff. Other than those 2 avenues, Elias, where can people keep up with you? Do you have a website, Facebook, that kind of stuff?
I have a Facebook like page or fan. I always hesitate to go fan page. Nobody's fan.
You've got fans.
So I have a Facebook page, just my name.
Okay.
Website is eliastufexis.com.
Awesome.
All right, definitely check those out, guys. Thank you so much, Elias, for taking the time to be with us today. Ronan, anything at last for Elias?
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down and talk with us about the game and other work that you've done in the industry. We definitely appreciate that. And
Roman all. All right, thanks.
Young?
Yeah, thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it. We absolutely love Adam Jensen and his brooding, but still, I don't know, just fun character. We love to just.
I love your 39 Steps shirt.
Ah, yes. This show is pretty awesome. But yeah, just thanks, and we hope to have you back someday when you have future work that you can announce and maybe talk about those. Looking forward to seeing what else you got for us, man.
Cool, thanks, buddy.
All right, Elias, have a good day, and we'll talk to you later, sir.
Thanks, guys.